For the next 2 weeks, I'm going to be talking on self-leadership. Okay? Self-leadership. Leading yourself. And if you're looking for a title, and I'll share the PDF after this, it is Mastering Me, Leading Yourself Before Leading Others. Leading yourself before leading others. Something you need to understand clearly is that the most difficult person to ever lead on this planet is the person you see in the mirror. And then again, the easiest person to lead on this planet is the person you see in the mirror. Who you will become, what you will be able to do, what you will achieve is a product of how you are able to lead yourself. And people admire people who lead themselves well, and they follow people who lead themselves well. When someone goes to the gym, he is going to look for the person who has led himself into the best level of fitness and listen to that person. When people are looking to improve their finances, they want to look at the person who has led himself best in the area of finances to listen to that person. So what you need to understand is that self-leadership is a major component of life and the things that you have to do. But also you need to remember that self-leadership begins with emotional awareness and regulation. Can I explain something? Look at me for a moment. In order to lead yourself in any area, mention any area, please. Someone should just give me an example off the top of your head. An area you may want to lead yourself or improve. Listening. Okay. Can I get another? Let's take 3 and I'll pick the easiest. Time management. Can I get someone else apart from my wife? Yes, sir. Thoughts and mindset. So thoughts and mindset, listening are close. Time management. Let's take time management because it's easier to relate with. If you want to improve in the area of time management, you can't do that if you don't improve in the area of emotional awareness and emotional regulation. Because not waking up when your alarm rings is not a factor of your body's ability to do so. It is a factor of your emotions being willing to comply with your decision to get up. It's true. Do you understand me? The alarm goes off. You know you have to get up, but something whispers to you, let me sleep a little bit more. So time management is not a factor of, do I have the right alarm? Did I get enough sleep? It is more of a factor of, can I overpower my emotions and my will that wants to stay in bed to get up? The same thing for finances. You want the bag, but you want to be a millionaire. And the difference between saving and buying the bag is not the need for the item, but the emotional response you get from getting the item. One gives you an immediate dopamine hit, an immediate joyful response. You are holding the bag, you are holding the game console, you are driving the car. The other gives you a delayed dopamine hit, which is, it is only in 5 or 10 years that that decision makes sense. So, between the two options, what is going to make you be able to choose one is how you regulate your emotions. I want to versus I need to. Are you with me? So emotional awareness and control is the foundation of all levels of emotional intelligence. It allows you, now when you understand this, it allows you to do one. The first thing it allows you to do is recognize your emotions at play. To recognize the emotion that is at play. Now recognize the emotion, understand the emotion. Identify the triggers. Recognize your emotions. When we are talking about emotional regulations, understand your emotions, identify the triggers it is pushing, and quickly evaluate the impact of your behavior and decisions. Let me give you a funny example that happened quite recently. When we finished service on 31st night, my wife said, "Can you drive my car? And I'll drive yours," because I was hearing a noise in my car. And for a man, when your wife says, "I was hearing a noise in my car," or "I was hearing a noise somewhere," you immediately know that it is work that has been brought to you. Because you are going to have to figure out what's wrong with it, figure out the repair, figure out the payment for the repair, figure out the return. So after leading a long service, after having prayed for hours within the day, I was already exhausted, I was drained. That information at 1 a.m. was not welcome. So I got in the car and I started driving, and the noise was terrible. I stopped living in the present, and I already imagined. I could see myself going to the mechanic, he telling me the part cost X amount of money. Pay attention, look at me. He telling me the part cost X amount of money, asking myself, where am I going to pull the money from? And by the time I had reached the traffic light, I was already in a bad mood. Madam called and said, "Are you ahead or you are behind?" I felt like saying I'm on top. But I could identify that I was already in a bad mood. But guess what? For me, what it triggered immediately was I started feeling hungry. Do you understand me? I suddenly started feeling hungry and suddenly wanted to eat. So as I was driving, I was walking through it. I said, when you get home, these people will start talking. If you respond wrongly or you start shouting at people, you are now transferring your emotions onto them. Then I reminded yourself, you can't die tomorrow's death. It could be a big problem, it could be a small problem. But so I started walking myself through the process. Did I eat when I went home or did I not eat? I'm not going to answer that question. However, in 2 days' time, when we did take it to the mechanic and he checked, it was a simple knot that had fallen out. They replaced the knot in less than 5 minutes and everything was fine. But I had to recognize what are the emotions at play. Anxiety about what is going to turn out. Is it going to affect my finances? Understand, why am I feeling like that? Because I feel like all this work is on me. I have already handled church service. After service, people were asking me about what needed to be done. And on top of that, I have to solve this problem again. Then what are the triggers at play? I want to shout at somebody. I want to go and have a meal to eat. I don't feel like seeing any. Now quickly evaluate the impact of this behavior. If I follow this behavior, what's going to happen? A few extra kilos on the scale. I'm going to disrupt everybody's new year because I would have shouted at everybody, been in a bad mood. When you are able to understand that ring, you are more able to control yourself and manage yourself, because life is generally self-regulation. He's been saying all these things. Are you sure we are in church or we are in a seminar? These men of God nowadays, they are acting like they are in the C-suits. Let me give you scriptures so that you will know that we are talking about the right things. Proverbs chapter 4, verse 23 says, above all else, can it be put up? Proverbs chapter 4 and the verse 23. Proverbs 4:23. Can we read it together? No, give me the other version. I prefer the NLT. Ready, go. Guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life. Guard your heart above all else. Can we see it in message? Message may put it in an interesting way if we have the message version. It says, keep vigilant, watch over your heart. That's where life starts. Your heart is your emotions. If you don't guard your emotions, NIV says, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Everything you do flows from it. How you manage your emotions determines whether your marriage will last or your marriage will disintegrate. I went on a health walk. Sometimes when people come for counseling, I enjoy walking. We walk together. It helps. I get something out of it. You get something out of it. And he's recently divorced, and we are talking about divorce. And I said something. I said, for everybody that you see who has gone through a divorce, there's someone who has experienced the same thing and hasn't gone through a divorce. All of it boils down to what each person is willing to tolerate, and what each person is willing to cope with, and what each person is willing to respond to. I've counseled couples where the lady comes in and she says, oh my goodness, my husband is cheating and I just don't know. He's in love with her. I want to leave him. And I've had others who have come in and said, my husband is cheating. Tell him he should take care of the household. Two different responses. One was raised with the notion that your men will cheat. And she's willing to live with it. So, job, you will meet two people who are experiencing the same, now we like to call it abuse, the same responses from a boss. One thrives and the other begins to spiral. It goes back to emotional regulation. How you guard your heart, how you view what you are seeing. Praise God.